It's such an interesting video. People are moving in right now. So, what I learned, technically my first week of college. I'm here at DePaul University, studying BFA playwriting, directing, etc. And it's insane to be in the city. However, what I've learned my first week of college, I'm gonna break it down bit by bit. Number one, this is something I always talk about, but I'm practicing what I preach. Find your people and don't be afraid to stand in your presence, finding them. So for instance, if you want to get to know someone, if you want to cultivate a space where you know them and they know you, do not be afraid to simply shake their hand and go towards them. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? They say no. We're afraid of rejection in our society, not recognizing that if you extend yourself and you understand and find who you are within that, no one, if you are truly a good person, no one should shame you for that or belittle you for standing in your presence. And as it pertains to finding your people, this relates to another point I'm making. Trust your instincts. When it comes to parties, people, when it comes to certain events, I was invited recently to go to a party, to go to a certain event with certain people. And even though I love those people with my whole heart and I adore them as human beings, I had a feeling that I would know exactly what was going to be at that party. Drugs, alcohol. I'm someone who doesn't do any of that. I'm not ever messing with that. That is not my life. I stood in my belief in myself and my instincts for who I knew these people were and what their intentions were. Trust your instincts. You're put in this situation for a reason. You know, you're going 600 miles from home. You're going thousands of miles from home, hours and hours away from home, or minutes. And you're put in a brand new environment meant for certain people to thrive. And some people will be thriving and some will only be surviving. And you have to figure out which one you want to live in. Ask. That's another one. If you need something, if you want something, listen, you paying for it. you the one paying for it. You are the one paying the $60,000 a year. I'm not paying $60,000. You're the one paying the 15, the 5,000, whatever it may be. You are the one paying for it. So do not be afraid to ask. Do not be afraid to ask for help and seek guidance. In our society, we're belittled for doing so. We're taught that you should know everything all the time, 24/7, and if you don't, you're a failure. If you're not successful at 18 or 19 years old, you're a failure. If you want to start making connections in the city, networking, ask someone who is maybe a fourth-year student or a graduate student. How do you make connections in the city? Because they now have more experience than you. Surround yourself around people, this is attached to that, surround yourself around people who are wiser than you. We're all intelligent and versed in different things. So if you put yourself in a friend group or people who know more than you about race, gender, sexuality, about the city simply, you're going to grow. And you have something to give them as well. So simply ask. Ask for what you need and you shall receive. But if you do not ask, you will not receive. Get a planner. Oh my goodness. I started using a planner a while ago. It was months ago. And before then I didn't necessarily use one. However, as life continues to ramp up, I need a place to dump everything. I need a place to know when are my meetings, what time is this, what are my personal artistic projects I'm working on this week, etc. What am I doing? Plan. Have a planner. Try and set up a schedule. Sometimes people like spontaneity, and that's great. However, for the things that are routine in your life, you might want to have a plan. You might want to have a way to set up things because there are so many moving things around you. You know, you have to get up at 9:40 in the morning to get everything on, walk out of your dorm, go down the street, go to your class, get in your class, etc. People are expecting you right now to be able to do all these things with little to no guidance. That's why I say ask, you know. So plan. Get a planner, find some sort of thing, download an app that's going to help you to organize yourself, because a cluttered mind is not good for the body and or the soul. Train the mind and allow the body to follow. Do not be afraid, and this is for people who don't drink or smoke either, do not be afraid to turn people down. Do not be afraid to recognize what your scene is. You know, for me, being in this room, being in the library, being in the theater school, and sometimes being in the student center are 4 hubs for me for beautiful growth and beautiful places I can go to express myself artistically, to have a quiet space, and to simply cultivate an environment that I can focus. Being in someone else's room and doing my work is not my thing. Being in a loud room full of people is not my. So find that for yourself, because it's so. You have to recognize it's so specific. This first week of college, I have recognized how many people do not care about holding on to the phrase, "I'll do my work later." That later becomes, "I'll do it tomorrow morning." That tomorrow morning becomes you're turning in a missing or late assignment. Recognize the mission that you're on. You came to this school. You potentially wanted to go to this school. You wanted to spend this money at this school. So respect yourself. When you tell yourself you're going to do something, I have to keep learning this as well. When you tell yourself you're going to do something, try with all of your might and heart to do so. Because it's a lie to no one else but yourself. And self is one of the most important things that we have on the planet Earth, point blank, period. Try and break down your life into the 7 dimensions of wellness: the physical, emotional, environmental, intellectual, social, spiritual, and occupational. That helps frame so much. You know, another thing I learned is that being here, these teachers expect you to be an adult, whatever that means. And I challenge you to hold on to your innocence. Hold on to the childlike wonder you have. It's okay. It's okay, Isaiah. It's okay. It's okay. It is okay to not know everything. Okay? It is okay to not know where everything is. It is okay to make a decision. You're never gonna, this is a beautiful thing I learned back on my old school, and I'm glad I'm bringing here. You will never have time. You have to make it. You're never just gonna have time to go hang out with your friends downtown Chicago. You're never just gonna have time to do the paper you need to write. You're never just going to have time doing X, Y, and Z. You make it. You're writing your paper and you say, "No, I'm done. I'm done. I'm stressed. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm setting this to the side, and I'm investing in me. For once in my life, investing in me." And that can be going for a walk. That can be going to a local smoothie or coffee shop. That can be hanging out with people. This was a huge shock for me. We're all from different places. I have some friends here who from Dubai. I have friends who are from right down the street. I have friends who are from Georgia, from California, New York, etc. And what that gives you is that gives you the ability to recognize. I've already heard phrases this week that are just horrible, ignorant phrases that our society right now is trying to rewrite, rip out of the book and say, you don't use this word, you don't say this specific thing because groups have been hurt by this. It's an opportunity to get educated and give education, to gain and give knowledge. Not everyone here will know everything you know, and not everyone here will expect you to know everything they know, because we are an entire universe filled with different people from different places, different values. So within that first week, manage to gauge the environment and see who around you doesn't recognize that there's a difference between gender and sex, doesn't recognize the struggles that minority communities face, doesn't recognize the struggles that women face or gender fluid people face, or anyone that's basically not a man on the gender spectrum face. Recognize the struggles that non-cis people face, etc. Because we're all from different places and we have to manage and gain the willingness to educate and to be educated. Another thing, if you want to, you will. College is a game. And it's all about how bad do you want it. Do you really want that A on the paper? Okay, then do the work that it takes. Do you really want to make those connections, then make that connection with that teacher. The teachers care. We've been taught that teachers. Now, some teachers, will throw work at you and don't care, and some teachers will. It literally just depends. These people have home lives of these people have their own lives they're living. So it depends person to person. I wanna cap off on this one because it's so simple, yet our generation doesn't know how to do this. Maybe our generation knows how to do this too much sometimes. Here, it is so easy to compare yourself. Everyone will be doing some type of work, will be some type of stressed out, will be in some form of panic, and continual adrenaline always running through you because you always have to be at this place at this specific time. Do not be afraid, Isaiah, and you, don't be afraid to take time for yourself and give back to yourself. Like I said, make time. Say no. So don't be afraid to do that. First week of college is getting acclimated, recognizing people, not being afraid to join clubs or events, finding your environment, finding your people and your space, not being afraid of that, and unapologetically being who you are.